the journey to Nirvana, the truth of liberation. Close your eyes and imagine a state of absolute stillness, a place where suffering and anxiety no longer exist, a space beyond words and comprehension. This is Nirvana, a concept that transcends all senses, reasoning, and even the boundaries of space and time. But what makes Nirvana so extraordinary and compelling within the teachings of the Buddha? Why has it become the ultimate goal for those seeking liberation? Join me as we explore this profound and timeless truth. Nirvana, peace beyond all boundaries. Imagine a place free from the constraints of time, a place where the burdens of life and death no longer weigh you down, where all suffering and troubles are released. This is Nirvana, the ultimate state of peace and freedom. In the cycle of existence, everything is conditioned. Birth leads to death, success turns into failure, love is followed by loss. We are all caught in this relentless cycle, endlessly chasing happiness only to be met with suffering. But Nirvana is the complete opposite. It is not a state created by causes or bound by impermanence. Nirvana is uncreated, unchanging, and eternal. The Buddha taught that Nirvana is where all the fires, those of greed, hatred, and delusion, are extinguished. It is a state where suffering ends, where attachment dissolves, and where fear no longer exists. But remember, Nirvana is not mere emptiness or extinction. It is a profound and positive state of freedom and peace. It is where the mind becomes perfectly still, yet shines with the light of awakening. As Bodhisattva Sumedha once reflected, if there is suffering, there must also be peace. If there is heat, there must also be coolness. And if there is birth, there must also be the uncreated, Nirvana. Thus, Nirvana is not just the cessation of suffering, but the beginning of a boundless and eternal joy. It is not a place to be found, but a truth to be realized, a state each of us can reach through the journey of transcending ourselves. Nirvana, void or ultimate truth? Imagine confronting a profound question. Is Nirvana merely emptiness? Or is it the ultimate truth, one that lies beyond what our senses and ordinary reasoning can grasp? The answer might be found in a simple yet thought-provoking tale about a fish and a turtle. The fish lived its entire life in a familiar pond, surrounded by the comfort of water. One day, the turtle returned from a journey to dry land. Curious, the fish asked, "What is dry land? Is it wet? Is it cool? Is it soft enough to swim through?" The turtle shook her head with each question, replying simply, "No." Frustrated, the fish finally declared, "Then dry land must be nothing. It doesn't exist." The turtle smiled gently. Just because you don't know dry land doesn't mean it's not real. Those who have experienced both water and land would understand that your view is limited by your own experience. This seemingly simple story reveals a profound truth. Nirvana is not nothing simply because our senses cannot perceive it, nor is it non-existent as some might assume. The Buddha described Nirvana with words like unmatched, supreme, eternal, and liberation. Could such profound terms ever be used to describe mere emptiness? Furthermore, Nirvana is not an end in the sense of ceasing to exist. It is liberation, freedom from greed, hatred, and ignorance. It is the ultimate truth, the state in which the soul finds absolute freedom and peace. So instead of trying to grasp nirvana through logic or sensory understanding, open your heart and explore it for yourself. This truth isn't something external to be found. It's already within you, waiting to be discovered. The nature of nirvana. Let us delve deeper into the essence of nirvana, a state beyond all conditions and suffering. What makes nirvana the ultimate destination in the journey of liberation? Unlike the cycle of existence, where everything is governed by impermanence and constant change, nirvana is eternal duva, pure subha, and peaceful sukha. Life within the cycle of birth and death is turbulent. All phenomena are conditioned, created by causes and destined to fade away. Bodies age, minds shift, and even the joys we cherish are fleeting. Nirvana, however, stands apart. It is unconditioned, unchanging, and indestructible. The Buddha taught that nirvana is a state of no birth, no decay, and no death. It is not the result of any process, nor is it the beginning of something new. Because it is neither created nor dependent on any cause, nirvana exists independently, unique, absolute, and timeless. Consider this allegory. A man finds himself trapped in a perilous forest. Chased by a ferocious elephant, he clings to a vine hanging over the edge of a deep well. Below, a venomous snake waits. Above him, two mice, one white, one black, gnaw steadily at the vine. Amid this danger, a few drops of honey drip from a beehive above, and he momentarily forgets his plight as he savors their sweetness. In this story, the forest represents the cycle of existence. The elephant symbolizes death, and the snake, old age. The vine represents life, while the white and black mice signify the passage of day and night, time slowly wearing life away. The honey symbolizes the fleeting pleasures of life. Yet nirvana is the freedom from all of these conditions, the ultimate release from suffering. Nirvana is not the happiness of ordinary sensations, but the absolute peace that comes when all suffering and affliction have ceased. It is a stillness that is vibrant and alive, transcending all constraints of birth and death, offering the supreme liberation of the soul. What enters nirvana? A familiar yet profound question. If there is no eternal soul or unchanging entity, then what enters nirvana? In the Buddhist teachings, the concept of a permanent self or soul is not recognized. What we commonly refer to as a being is in reality a temporary aggregation of the five aggregates form: feeling, perception, mental formations, and consciousness. These elements are constantly changing, perpetually arising and ceasing. So, if there is no fixed entity, how can we speak of something entering nirvana? Bhikkhuni Vijaya explained this beautifully with a simple analogy. When the parts are assembled, we call it a chariot. Similarly, the term being is merely a convention used when the five aggregates come together. This means that what we call self or soul is merely a conceptual designation, not an enduring reality. In practice, the stream of life santafi is sustained by two primary forces, ignorance and craving. When an arahant attains enlightenment, these two roots are completely severed. The stream stops flowing and the individual achieves nirvana. This is not the destruction of an entity, but the end of all bondage and suffering. The Visuddhimagga path of purification expresses this succinctly. There is only suffering but no sufferer. There is nirvana but no one to attain it. There is a path but no traveler on it. Thus, asking what enters nirvana is inherently incorrect, as there is no self to enter. Nirvana is not a place, nor is it a state reserved for individuals. It is the cessation of the cycle of birth and death, a liberation that defies complete description. This marks a key distinction between Buddhism and other philosophies. Nirvana is neither the eternalization of a soul, nor a state of annihilation. It transcends all concepts and boundaries, a truth that can only be fully understood through direct realization. The path to nirvana. If nirvana is not a specific place and not mere emptiness, then how can we attain it? What path leads to this ultimate state of liberation? Nagasena once explained in the Questions of King Milinda, nirvana cannot be pointed to as existing in the east, west, north, or south, but nirvana is real. And anyone who lives righteously, keeps moral discipline, and practices insight, no matter where they are, can attain it. He offered a comparison. Fire is not stored in any one location, yet when the right conditions are present, it arises. Similarly, nirvana is not a place, but an accomplishment that emerges when the conditions are fully met. These conditions are found in the path that the Buddha clearly outlined for us. The Buddha called it the Noble Eightfold Path, which consists of 8 factors: right view, right intention, right speech, right action, right livelihood, right effort, right mindfulness, and right concentration. This path is the only way to end suffering and escape the endless cycle of birth and death. But this journey is not just a theoretical process. It requires a transformation of the mind and heart. Moral discipline provides the foundation, cultivating self-control and purity. Wisdom acts as the guiding light, helping us understand the true nature of all things. And concentration is the bridge that steadies the mind and leads it to ultimate peace. The Buddha once said, "Monks, within this very body, with its perception and mind, lies the world, the origin of the world, and the cessation of the world." This reminds us that the path to nirvana is not found outside of ourselves, it is within. With moral discipline, wisdom, and concentration as our compass, anyone, whether living amidst the chaos of daily life or in the solitude of the mountains, can walk the path to nirvana. All it takes is a single step forward, and the light of liberation will always be there to guide you. Nirvana, the ultimate liberation. Nirvana is the state of absolute liberation, one that cannot be fully captured by words or understood through mere reasoning. Yet the Buddha left us with a clear path. Uphold moral discipline, cultivate wisdom, and let go of all attachments. Like the moon emerging from behind the clouds, nirvana reveals itself only when we transcend our own limitations. It is not emptiness, nor is it a physical place. Nirvana is the ultimate peace, the final destination of the spiritual journey. Pause for a moment. Listen to your inner self. Begin to walk the path the Buddha so clearly laid out. The goal may seem distant, but the path is ready, and the light of nirvana is always there, waiting to guide you.